Good morning, traders. Greg here from MasterTrader. Well, markets here are pretty flat here, pre-market. You can see the S&Ps did nothing yesterday. Inside day. So, for those of you, what is an inside day? Well, it is as it said, it's a day that trades inside the range of the prior day. And you can see this was yesterday, traded in between. You had the open and close about in the same place. So it's about as indecisive a day as you can get. I mentioned the breakout failure that it had, and the fact that the futures had made a new high, the spiders didn't. And so they had the breakout failure. Prices came back in, and so far they're not following through to the downside, and well, they're not going up either. So here, you've got your two lines in the sand, excuse me, being the prior day's high and low. And if the S&Ps can take out yesterday's low, odds are it's going down here to test this support level. So that said, let's take a look at the spiders. And you can see the breakout that did not happen. And you can hit the same inside day. And now if it's lower, which you can see in the 24-hour chart, it's just going sideways here. If it can break through here, we'd look for a move at least down to the support. And if it can get through this 243.50 area, then that opens up the door to possibly testing the upper end of the range. So that, you have your lines in the sand every day for whatever it is that you're monitoring or trading, and see, which way it's going to go, and then you go accordingly. You put together multiple time frame analysis, and your market internals if you're using them, and so on, and you put together your trading plan. So the Nasdaq here, was actually able to push a little bit higher, but now it's come back in a little bit, and it's going sideways. So we really don't know what's going to happen here, meaning, it came down hard, and we got this rounding kind of bottom here, sloppy with tails and overlapping bars, and prices have been able to get through it. And we're in the upper part of this wider bar, and we had a little bit of follow through, but it came back in again. So which way is it going to go? Well, again, we'll use the prior day's low and the prior day's high as reference points as to which way prices are likely to go. And oil is still weak, a little extended to the downside, but one of the things to realize is that oversold can become more oversold and more oversold, so that's not a reason to ever buy. You need to be able to discern climactic type of patterns and bottoming patterns and climactic volume if it happens, and all the different concepts that come together to suggest that there's a possible bounce that's going to happen. Something like this. Wide range bar after multiple bars moving down. Here you have a measured move down. Big bottoming tail, volume. Those are the kind of things that come together that suggest at least a counter trend move. I'll tell you, it doesn't suggest a move to this extent, meaning to trade above, this area of resistance. And this is going to be one of the MOs, if you will, of this market, of being able to fool, players into, well, look at the strength here. This move to the downside must be over. And it's not just oil. It's happened in other stocks in our markets, and then collapse right back down again. So what can help you with that, and it's not an absolute, but when you get a big move like this, move to the higher time frame and see what that looks like. So in this case of oil, it was making a lower high and a lower low, possibly another lower low, and then you see what it's going to do. Oh, boom, big wide range bar to the downside, no follow through to the green bar. Okay, this weekly chart is starting to take hold, and this is how a master trader puts together the concept of multiple time frames. All right, bonds. What are bonds doing here? A little lower this morning, but kind of grinding up here. Just a slow grind, and It looks like it'll continue to do so until it doesn't. So, you know, let's just see. It's going that way, and TLT is the ETF to use to play this or continue to play this on the upside. The market is always interesting every day. If you're a market person, you just love it, and every day is some nuance or something new, even though the basic concepts of the markets always stay the same. But there are always little nuances or changes. So, it's something that keeps it interesting. It keeps you on your toes. Over time you learn that, you don't make absolute assumptions about things. You go with your plan and you see, and you have rules as to how it changes. But, I mentioned some gaps yesterday. WB was a big one, and it looked pretty convincing because it had opened down here under a green bar, and the buyers came in, and it was able to hold up and, move back up into resistance all day. Now, it doesn't mean it won't roll back over again, but on any given day, what seems to be the obvious will not be. So again, plans, rules, discipline, and such. Cena gapped down. It was near some support. I mentioned that. And it also rallied. So there was a lot. Yesterday, generally speaking, there weren't a lot of gap down stocks, but the ones that did, most of them didn't follow through to the downside. So that's interesting. Momo, here's another one that had a daily sell setup. We had a weekly buy, but it started with a wide range bar down. That's really not a great buy setup that starts with a wide range bar to the downside. In any event, it was making a lower low, a lower high, a lower low, come up into resistance, and it gaps down after several days up. It does not follow through to the downside, and it rallies back up. So that was one of the themes of yesterday that I noticed, that a lot of these gap downs, they didn't set up as they typically do and then roll back over again. And so if you have a plan, you didn't get hurt with shorting them either because they just didn't set up well. Gold, and the gold stocks that I mentioned, if you watch those, they did quite well. And this doesn't look much here, but intraday, they had, I got a 24-hour chart here, they had a decent move up here in the morning, so, gold performed. And what else we got here? Biotechs, which I was looking, and I think we were looking at the IBB. Where is that in my list? Not the IBB, the XBI. They pretty much moved the same. Anyway, it had gapped up. It moved up to that 80 area, and it just would not give it up. Buyers kept coming in, and now it looks like this could be the pullback. So this is it still looks great. It still has the type of pattern that suggests it's going to go higher. But when you get this extended from any support, you typically get a pullback. So for intraday traders, that sets up some opportunities. One of the stocks that was strong here, LRCX, and where is that trading here? 149. It's down a little bit, so I'm interested in this to see if it breaks under that 50 MA, since it hasn't been able to move up at all after hitting it. And this 50 MA is a pretty widely followed, potent reference point. And you can see how it's held here, but it hasn't been able to bounce up toward the 20 and this resistance. So it might turn back down again. So that's it for me, guys. Well, financials I'm interested in to see. They're pulling back here after this breakout to see what they do. But anyway, you guys have a great Friday and a terrific weekend, and we'll talk next week.